Good morning, everybody. It's Monday, November 7th, 5:44 a.m. Central Time as I speak here. December corn futures down 1 1/4 at 679 3/4. January soybeans down 2 1/4 at 1460. December Chicago wheat down 4 1/4 at 843 3/4 last. December Kansas City wheat down 3 1/4 at 950. December spring wheat down 4 3/4 at 949 3/4. If you guys are listening on the podcast, appreciate it. Ratings and reviews, very much welcome. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button. Leave me a comment. If you caught some of these rains over the weekend, drop your location and your rainfall totals. If you've got some yield updates, crop updates, drop those in the comments as well. All of those things will help YouTube to help me to continue to grow this channel. Appreciate it as always, guys. If you'd like some additional information from me, visit my website, www.standardgrain.com. Check out my premium subscription service today. I send my premium subscribers a ton of information direct from me every single business day. Morning email goes out about 5:30 a.m. Central Time. In that email, you'll see every overnight headline you need to be aware of, charts, graphics, weather information. My daily subscriber-only videos are part of this deal. On Friday, I talked about China's COVID policy and also ran through some things I'm looking at on the grain charts, soybeans in particular. If you guys are interested in this sort of content, signing up is a piece of cake. Go to my website, you punch in your credit card, it's $50 a month, and you can cancel at any time. No other fee, no other obligation. Nobody will try to sell you anything else. This is an information-only service, guys. Chinese health officials have essentially dismissed rumors that the country would ease its COVID policies. Beijing vowed on Saturday to unswervingly adhere to a COVID zero policy approach on Saturday. A Chinese health official said this: previous practices have proved that our prevention and control plans and a series of strategic measures are completely correct. Now, late last week, on Friday in particular, I think it was believed that global markets, stocks and commodities, and a bunch of other stuff rallied on the prospect of a shift in Chinese COVID policies toward a less restrictive approach. Now, China says that that's not the case, but other people think this still is the case. There was an analyst at Goldman Sachs who said this regarding a potential exit from COVID zero. The government still needs to keep its COVID zero policy until all preparations are done. So I think that there are still a lot of people who believe that they may move away from this, but that they need some time to prepare. So I think that despite the Chinese government's comments regarding this on Saturday, the market is still kind of torn, and there's still some ideas that they're going to move away from this. If Goldman's saying people are paying attention, would be my general thought. Weekend rains hit some key northern areas of the Mississippi River Valley, central and southern areas also, but your heaviest rainfall amounts over the, say, Iowa-Wisconsin border, Minnesota-Wisconsin border, Iowa-Illinois border, Missouri-Illinois border to a lesser extent, and then some of these southern River Valley areas to some extent. So this was welcome for a number of reasons. I mean, a lot of these places have been dry. Central to eastern Kansas caught some rain. Parts of Oklahoma caught some rain. Western Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota, very much dry over the weekend. But this should be helpful for a number of reasons. When it comes to river levels improved on Saturday, then declined a little bit. I'm not an expert on this. I'd imagine maybe that has something to do with the lock and dam systems on the northern portion of the river. But in any case, that's a positive. You look at the next 7 days, and some of these northern River Valley areas, again, could see some rain. It looks like Minnesota, Wisconsin, maybe the Dakotas will see some rain here over the next week. And then the rest of the Corn Belt, the rest of the country, south, southeast, kind of on the drier side. So kind of a mixed bag in terms of the forecast. So this river situation may be on the mend here a little bit, but we'll need to see some additional rains, I believe. Reports indicate that President Biden's top national security advisor has been engaged with talks with Russia's top aides over the last several months. This was a big Wall Street Journal report over the weekend. They reported that Jake Sullivan, who is the U.S. National Security Advisor, has been in talks with his Russian counterparts in an effort to reduce the risk of a broader conflict in Ukraine and to warn Moscow against using nuclear weapons. These talks have reportedly been going on for months. Now, the White House hasn't confirmed any of this. They haven't confirmed any sort of talks with Russia since like February or March, really. Sullivan's aim, according to Wall Street Journal reporting, has been to reduce the risk of escalation and keep communication channels open, not necessarily to discuss a settlement in the war. The White House has not publicly acknowledged this, and Russian officials were asked about it, and they didn't say much either. One former U.S. official said this: I think it's always important, especially for nuclear armed countries, to maintain open channels of communication to help understand what each side is thinking and thereby avoid the possibility of an accidental confrontation or war. That actually makes a lot of sense to me. So I hope that's the case. I hope they're talking because I think that that does reduce the risk of some sort of nuclear conflict, which of course is worst case scenario when it comes to this entire deal. Chinese soybean imports are soft. Customs data revealed today that China's imports of soybeans during the month of October were down 19% versus the same month last year. This was the lowest total for any October in regard to Chinese soybean imports since 2014. Buyers reportedly cut purchases amid high prices and poor crush margins. Total Chinese soybean imports through the first 10 months of the year are down about 7.5% versus the same period last year. Now, hog margins have recovered, and some people believe that China now could be short of soybeans to some extent and that they'll import more during the next few months. Maybe on that same note, China's state grain stockpiler signed what they call a framework deal to import 10 million metric tons of soybeans. This was reported, I believe, yesterday. The sellers include ADM, Syngenta, Kofco, Dreyfus, Bunge, and Cargill. You'll see this reported and discussed today, and that's why I'm mentioning it. But this is a ceremonial signing. It's not reflective of actual purchases. The other thing here is there's no destinations. So, all of those big grain outfits, I mean, they've got, business in the United States and in South America. So this it doesn't mean anything, and it especially doesn't mean anything because it has no destinations listed. So you're going to hear that, but it's a non-starter, in my opinion. Large money managers or the funds were aggressive buyers of corn and soybeans in the week ending November 1st. CFTC had its commitment of traders report out on Friday. Funds were net buyers of 13,000 contracts of corn and 26,000 contracts of soybeans in the week ending November 1st. Not much movement at all in terms of the SRW wheat position. But this is a pretty big net long in corn, 262,000. This is a modest to getting big type net long in soybeans at 102, and this is a modest net short in SRW wheat, 37,000 for large money managers. We have a USDA report on Wednesday. This is the monthly crop production and WASDE report. It will be out Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. Central Time. Traders generally expect little to no change in the U.S. corn and soybean production estimates versus last month. Traders do expect larger U.S. corn and soybean carryout estimates versus last month, which implies that traders are expecting lower demand numbers on the domestic balance sheets. When it comes to the global balance sheets, everything's up in the air. South American production, exports, Black Sea estimates, Chinese import estimates. This deal will be out at 11 a.m. Central on Wednesday morning. I'll talk a little bit more about specific estimates tomorrow morning and went into Wednesday morning. Cattle market was marginally lower Friday. Cash cattle mostly 150 in the south, 153 in the north last week. U.S. dollars lower this morning. Stock market's higher. The S&P's up 24. The Dow Jones up 190. Bonds are higher. Gold's up $3. Crude oil is down 47 cents in the December WTI at 92.14 last trade. Have a great week, guys. I will talk to you Tuesday.